Welcome to Lost at 3 a.m. Put your phone down, close your eyes, and let this be the last video you hear tonight. Relax, breathe, and let's begin. Tonight, we're delving into one of the most unique and beloved characters from the Harry Potter series, Luna Lovegood. Known for her eccentric personality, deep wisdom, and unwavering loyalty, Luna quickly became a fan favorite, captivating readers with her quirky charm and profound insights. Luna's character might seem strange at first. She believes in creatures like nargles and crumple-horned snorkax, and she carries herself with an air of unshakable confidence, no matter how others perceive her. But behind her peculiarities lies a strong sense of self and a remarkable ability to see the world in a way that others can't. Luna's journey through the wizarding world is one of acceptance, bravery, and most importantly, being true to herself. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and let's dive into the world of Luna Lovegood, a character who teaches us all the value of being unapologetically unique. Luna Lovegood first graced the pages of Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, and her entrance into the story was nothing short of memorable. She was introduced as a student at Hogwarts, a member of Ravenclaw House. With an eccentric personality and a rather unconventional way of thinking, she immediately stood out to Harry and the other students for her oddities, her dreamy demeanor, her unusual beliefs, and her strange appearance, which included her silvery, protuberant eyes and often mismatched clothing. When Harry first meets Luna on the Hogwarts Express, he's taken aback by her peculiar behavior. She's calm and unfazed by others' judgment, offering strange yet intriguing comments, such as her belief in the existence of nargles, mischievous creatures that she says steal things, like socks. At first, the other students dismiss her as odd, and Harry himself doesn't quite know what to make of her. But Luna, as always, is unapologetic about who she is, comfortable in her own skin, and that's something that makes her incredibly unique in a world where many characters struggle with fitting in. Despite her eccentricities, Luna's introduction sets the stage for her deeper connection with the central characters. Though she may seem a little out there, Luna's insights and wisdom become essential as the story progresses. She doesn't shy away from speaking her mind, even when others laugh at her ideas. And as Harry gets to know her better, he realizes that Luna's unusual perspective offers something valuable, her ability to see the truth, even when others refuse to acknowledge it. In this section, we see Luna not just as an outsider, but as someone whose individuality allows her to see the world in a different light. This is the beginning of Luna's role in Harry's life, not as a quirky oddball to be ignored, but as someone whose perspective will challenge him and the reader about the importance of accepting others and embracing what makes us unique. As Luna's character continues to develop, it becomes clear that her first impression, as strange as it was only the beginning of the lasting impact she would have on Harry and his journey. She is, in many ways, the mirror image of how the wizarding world itself views those who don't fit the mold, and this theme will carry through her every appearance in the series. Luna Lovegood is often remembered for her quirky personality, her eccentric beliefs, her dreamy demeanor, and her ability to stay true to herself despite the judgment she faces from others. But beyond the eccentricity, there's a depth to Luna that makes her one of the most compelling characters in the Harry Potter series. She is a perfect blend of eccentricity, wisdom, and kindness, a character whose unusual traits make her all the more profound. At first glance, Luna appears to live in a world of her own. She's unbothered by the opinions of others, even when they tease or mock her for her peculiar beliefs. She has no problem talking about nargles, crumple-horned snorkax, and other magical creatures that no one else believes in. Luna's eccentricity is what sets her apart, but it's also what makes her so interesting. Her willingness to embrace what others deem strange is a reminder that being different doesn't mean being less. What often gets overlooked is Luna's wisdom. While others in the series tend to dismiss her as naive or silly, Luna is often the one who speaks the most truth. Her understanding of people and situations is surprisingly deep, and she has an ability to see things from a perspective that others often miss. In Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Luna is one of the first to notice Harry's internal struggles and his loneliness, offering him a comforting presence without even needing to say much. Her quiet support during difficult moments, like the death of Dumbledore, shows that she's far more perceptive and emotionally intelligent than many of the characters around her realize. Luna's kindness is another cornerstone of her character. She's not just eccentric or wise, she's also incredibly empathetic. She never judges others for their differences, and she accepts people as they are, offering friendship without reservation. Her relationship with Harry, Ron, and Hermione is an example of this. Even though Luna is often seen as an outsider, she never makes anyone feel like they don't belong. Instead, she embraces them, adding warmth to their group with her calm presence and unwavering loyalty. Her kindness is especially evident when she stands by Ginny and Neville, supporting them unconditionally in ways that are often understated but deeply impactful. Luna also demonstrates her courage throughout the series. Despite being considered different, she shows up when it counts, never afraid to speak out or take action when needed. Her role in Dumbledore's army is significant. Luna was one of the brave members who stood by Harry's side during the Battle of Hogwarts. When faced with danger, she faced it with the same quiet bravery and confidence that she carried throughout the series, even when others might be afraid or uncertain. Ultimately, Luna is a character who teaches us about the importance of staying true to ourselves. Her eccentricity is not a flaw, but a reflection of her individuality, and her wisdom and kindness make her someone that others trust and rely on. She may not always be the loudest or the most obvious source of support, but her presence has a quiet strength that is hard to ignore. Luna Lovegood's unique blend of qualities serves as a reminder that being different, being kind, and having the courage to stand up for what you believe in are some of the greatest strengths we can have. Luna's friendship with Harry, and eventually with Ron and Hermione, is one of the most quietly powerful relationships in the Harry Potter series. It doesn't start out in the most obvious or traditional way. In fact, when Luna is first introduced, most of the other students, including the trio, see her as odd. She's not someone they immediately let into their close-knit circle, but Luna never seems to mind. She's not trying to impress anyone, and she never changes who she is to be accepted. It's that very quality, her authenticity, that slowly starts to draw Harry in. One of the first real moments of connection between them happens at the end of Order of the Phoenix. After the battle at the Department of Mysteries, Harry is grieving the loss of Sirius, and Luna is one of the only people who doesn't try to offer shallow comfort. Instead, she shares her own experience with loss, her mother's death, and tells Harry about the things she believes, not to make him feel better, but to help him feel understood. It's quiet, it's strange, and it's exactly what Harry needs. In that moment, he sees her not just as the odd Ravenclaw with wild ideas, but as someone who truly gets him. As time goes on, Luna becomes more than just a classmate or a background character. She becomes a true friend. In Half-Blood Prince, she attends Slughorn's Christmas party as Harry's guest, not as a romantic interest, but because he genuinely enjoys her company. She doesn't try to act differently, even in a more formal setting, and that's part of what Harry likes about her. She's refreshing, honest, someone who doesn't play games or hide behind a mask. And by that point, Harry's been surrounded by enough deception and pressure that Luna's presence is like a breath of fresh air. Luna's friendship with Ron and Hermione takes longer to develop, but it does grow, especially during their time with Dumbledore's army. She fights beside them, trains with them, and proves herself as someone they can rely on. Even if she's not part of their inner circle in the same way, there's a respect that begins to form. By the time the final book rolls around, Luna is fully part of their world. She's there at Shell Cottage. She's there in the Room of Requirement, helping rally the troops. And she's there during the final battle, fighting bravely and selflessly alongside the others. What's beautiful about Luna's friendship with the trio is that it's built on genuine connection. She doesn't force herself into their world. She doesn't try to fit in. She simply shows up again and again as her truest self, and eventually they see what we as readers have known all along. Luna is not only worthy of friendship, she's one of the most loyal, compassionate, and insightful allies they have. She might not have shared every adventure with them from the start, but when it counted, Luna was there. And not just physically, she was emotionally present, offering quiet strength, heartfelt advice, and a kind of support that wasn't always loud, but was always deeply felt. Her friendship was never flashy, never performative. It was real, and in the chaos of everything happening around them, that kind of friendship was rare and incredibly important. When Harry begins Dumbledore's army in Order of the Phoenix, it's a turning point in the series. The students are no longer just learning about magic, they're preparing to fight. And among the students who step up to join this secret group, Luna Lovegood is one of the most unexpected, yet quietly powerful members. Luna may not seem like a fighter at first glance. She's soft-spoken, unbothered by what others think of her, and often lost in thought about creatures no one else believes exist. But when it comes to standing up for what's right, Luna never hesitates. She joins the DA without a second thought, not because she wants recognition, but because she believes in the cause. She sees the injustice in how Hogwarts is being run under Umbridge and knows that action, real, meaningful action, is necessary. During their training sessions in the Room of Requirement, Luna proves herself to be a capable and determined witch. She doesn't boast, and she doesn't try to impress anyone. She listens, she learns, and she commits herself fully to what the group is doing. She's focused, confident in her quiet way, and completely unafraid to throw herself into something that matters. Her strength doesn't come from being loud or flashy, it comes from her steady resolve. But it's during the events at the Department of Mysteries where Luna's bravery really shines. She's one of the 6 students who go with Harry to the Ministry of Magic, ready to fight against trained Death Eaters. She knows the risks, she knows they're walking into danger, but she doesn't flinch. Luna holds her ground, using everything she's learned in the DA to help defend her friends. She fights with courage, remains calm under pressure, and proves, beyond any doubt, that she belongs there. What's especially striking about Luna in this moment is how naturally she faces fear. She's not reckless, and she doesn't act out of impulse. She simply believes in what they're doing, and that belief gives her strength. She doesn't need to be the center of attention or the loudest voice in the room. She just shows up and gives everything she has. In Deathly Hallows, Luna's commitment to the DA doesn't waver, even as the stakes grow higher. While Harry, Ron, and Hermione are on the run, she continues the fight at Hogwarts alongside Neville and Ginny. She helps keep the spirit of resistance alive, encouraging others, standing up to the Carrows, and risking her safety to protect her fellow students. Her bravery isn't fueled by glory, it's fueled by conviction. And when the Battle of Hogwarts begins, Luna is there. She doesn't need to be asked. She fights beside the rest of them, standing up against Voldemort's forces with quiet intensity and fierce loyalty. She's no longer the odd girl in the corner. She's a warrior, a leader, and a friend. Luna's role in Dumbledore's army shows us a different kind of heroism. One that's not about being the strongest or the most skilled, but about having the heart to stand up when it counts. She reminds us that bravery can come in unexpected forms, that even the quietest among us can rise when it matters most. Through Luna, we see that true courage isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, unshakable, and just as powerful. To understand Luna Lovegood, it helps to look at where she comes from, because her individuality, her beliefs, and her sense of self weren't things she picked up at school. They were shaped, in large part, by the world she grew up in and the people who raised her. And when it comes to Luna's family, there's really one person who stands out: her father, Xenophilius Lovegood. Xenophilius is the editor of the Quibbler, a wizarding publication known for printing conspiracy theories, outlandish magical claims, and ideas that most of the wizarding world dismisses. But where others see nonsense, Xenophilius sees possibility. He believes in challenging mainstream thinking and questioning what's accepted as fact. And that way of thinking clearly influenced Luna from an early age. Luna was raised in a home where imagination wasn't discouraged, it was encouraged. Believing in creatures others couldn't see wasn't seen as strange. It was normal. And that gave Luna the freedom to grow into someone who never felt the need to conform. She doesn't care what others think of her beliefs, because she was never taught that she had to. From her father, she learned that it was okay to be different, and more than that, it was something to be proud of. But Luna's childhood wasn't without hardship. She lost her mother at a very young age, in a magical experiment that went wrong. It's a quiet detail in the books, but a significant one. Luna witnessed the accident firsthand, and it shaped her in more ways than one. It's why she can see thestrals, those ghostly skeletal horses visible only to those who've seen death. And it's likely part of why she developed such a calm, accepting attitude toward life and loss. While other students might shy away from talking about death, Luna approaches it with a quiet kind of wisdom. She understands that it's part of the journey, not something to be feared. Her relationship with her father is one of deep love and loyalty. The two of them share a bond, built not just on family, but on shared beliefs, and a mutual understanding that they live a little differently than most. Even when others laugh at the Quibbler or dismiss Xenophilius as an oddball, Luna stands by him. She never apologizes for the way she was raised. And when Xenophilius later makes choices that put Harry and his friends at risk, choices made out of fear and desperation, it's clear that Luna still loves him, despite his flaws. She understands that people are complicated, that love sometimes means accepting someone, even when they make mistakes. The Lovegood household may be unconventional, but it gave Luna the tools to become one of the most grounded and self-assured characters in the series. She didn't grow up worrying about what others thought. She didn't learn to doubt her instincts or hide her beliefs. Instead, she was raised to embrace her weirdness, to be curious, to look beyond the obvious, and to find beauty in the strange. Luna's family might not be a big part of the series overall, but their influence runs deep. Her father's open-mindedness, her mother's adventurous spirit, and the grief she learned to carry. All of it shaped her into someone who could move through the world with compassion, clarity, and strength. Luna is who she is because she came from a home that allowed her to be. And that's what makes her so rare. Not just in the wizarding world, but in life. Luna Lovegood's connection to the magical world is different. While most witches and wizards stick to what's been proven, what's taught in textbooks, Luna always has her eyes open to the things that don't fit neatly into those boxes. She's fascinated by the strange, the invisible, the misunderstood. She doesn't just live in the magical world, she sees it from an entirely different angle, one that's full of wonder, mystery, and endless possibilities. One of the most memorable things about Luna is her unwavering belief in magical creatures that no one else seems to believe exist. The crumple-horned snorkak, the nargles, the rackspurts, they're creatures that most people, even other magical folk, laugh off. But to Luna, they're real. And not just real, they're important. Because Luna's not interested in what's popular or accepted. She's interested in the things people overlook, the things others might miss, because they're too focused on what's right in front of them. And that's what makes Luna so special. She's open to the unknown. She doesn't need proof to believe something is possible. That kind of thinking might seem silly at first, but in a world where magic exists, where creatures like hippogriffs and basilisks are real, Luna's curiosity feels right. She challenges the idea that magic has to make sense, that it has to be logical. For Luna, magic is something to be felt and experienced, not always understood. One of the best examples of this is her relationship with thestrals. These creatures, skeletal and haunting, can only be seen by those who've witnessed death. Most students at Hogwarts are terrified of them, but not Luna. She sees them for what they are, gentle, misunderstood, and beautiful in their own way. Her calm explanation of Thestrals to Harry is one of those quiet moments that sticks with you. She doesn't rush him to accept them. She just shares what she knows and lets him come to his own understanding. It's such a simple thing, but it speaks volumes about how she views the world, with compassion, with wonder, and without fear. Luna's beliefs also reflect a kind of spiritual depth that isn't common among the other characters. While most students focus on spells and grades, Luna's more interested in meaning. She thinks about the big things, life, death, what's beyond what we can see. She's not afraid to speak about the things others avoid. There's something grounding about her, like she's tapped into something deeper than the surface level chaos of the world around her. And while people often brush off her ideas, Luna doesn't let it get to her. She listens politely, shrugs, and continues to believe what she believes. It's not that she thinks she's right and everyone else is wrong. She just doesn't feel the need to convince anyone. Her open-mindedness isn't about proving anything. It's about staying curious, staying hopeful, and leaving space for magic to surprise you. In a world where even magic can become rigid and rule-based, Luna is a reminder that mystery still matters, that there's value in the things we don't fully understand. Her connection to the magical world isn't built on textbooks or traditions. It's built on feeling, instinct, and the kind of quiet wisdom that only comes from seeing things differently. Luna reminds us that magic doesn't have to be explained to be real. Sometimes it's in the belief itself, the willingness to wonder, to imagine, and to trust what your heart tells you, even when no one else sees it. Luna Lovegood might not have had the most screen time or the loudest presence in the wizarding world, but the impact she made on her friends, on Hogwarts, and on the readers and viewers who came to love her is undeniable. She didn't cast the most powerful spells or lead the charge in the biggest battles, but Luna changed people, not with force, with perspective. At Hogwarts, Luna was seen as a bit of a joke. People called her Loony Lovegood, laughed at her beliefs, stole her belongings, and generally dismissed her as someone strange and forgettable. But what they didn't realize, at least not at first, was that Luna was quietly reshaping how others thought about acceptance, kindness, and courage. She didn't fight back when people mocked her. She didn't change herself to fit in. And over time, that quiet strength earned her something far more valuable than popularity: respect. Luna had this incredible ability to make people rethink their assumptions, not by lecturing or arguing, but simply by being herself, completely, unapologetically. She challenged people in the gentlest way to look past appearances, to question what they thought they knew, whether it was her belief in creatures others called imaginary, or her habit of saying things most people wouldn't dare to say out loud. Luna reminded everyone around her that the world is much bigger than it seems, and that sometimes the people who see it differently are the ones worth listening to. Her impact is especially clear in how she affects those closest to her. She helps Harry process grief, understand loss, and see value in things beyond logic. She shows Neville that bravery isn't always loud, and that gentleness doesn't mean weakness. She inspires Ginny with her loyalty and honesty, and by the end of the series, even Ron and Hermione, who were once baffled by her, recognize the depth and brilliance behind her quirks. Luna earns her place not by fitting in, but by making others more comfortable with standing out. Even the larger wizarding world feels her influence. Her father's magazine, The Quibbler, once dismissed as a conspiracy-riddled joke, becomes a source of real news and resistance during the Second Wizarding War, thanks in part to Luna's connection to Dumbledore's army and the truths she and her friends are fighting for. Luna helps bridge the gap between what's strange and what's real, showing that sometimes the most unconventional paths are the ones worth following. And long after the war is over, Luna continues to shape the magical world. She becomes a naturalist, studying magical creatures that others ignore, and goes on to build a life that reflects everything she stood for: curiosity, truth, and wonder. She never gives up the parts of herself that made her different. Instead, she turns those parts into strengths and uses them to explore the world with the same open heart and mind she always had. Luna's legacy is a quiet one, but it's powerful. She didn't need to change the world by storm. She did it by helping people change the way they saw it. She reminded everyone that there's nothing wrong with being different, that kindness is a form of strength, and that believing in something, even when no one else does, can be its own kind of magic. In the end, Luna Lovegood didn't just fit into the wizarding world. She made it better by being exactly who she was. When Luna Lovegood made her first appearance on screen in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, it could have gone one of two ways. She's a character who, in the books, walks a very fine line. Deeply eccentric, yes, but also full of insight, depth, and quiet strength. It would have been easy to play her as just comic relief, or to exaggerate her oddness and miss what makes her truly special. But then came Evanna Lynch. Evanna wasn't just acting, she was Luna, and it wasn't by accident. She was a true fan of the series before she ever got the role, and she deeply understood the heart of the character in a way that few actors get the chance to. She didn't try to make Luna quirky just for the sake of being weird. She gave her softness, sincerity, a kind of calm, ethereal energy that made Luna feel not only believable, but deeply human. From the moment she appears, barefoot and serene, reading the Quibbler upside down, she captures the exact kind of quiet confidence that defines Luna in the books. She never fakes it. She never forces it. Every line, every expression feels completely natural. There's a stillness in the way Evanna plays her, like Luna's not reacting to the world. She's observing it, floating slightly outside of it, yet always connected in her own way. Some of the film's best Luna moments come not through action, but through presence, like when she gently comforts Harry after Sirius's death, or when she walks with him through the forest, explaining thestrals, or even something as simple as her pointing out that you're just as sane as I am. These moments, delivered with such honesty and calm, remind us that Luna isn't clueless. She just sees the world differently, and Evanna makes us believe every second of it. What's especially beautiful about her portrayal is how she balances Luna's dreaminess with real courage. In Deathly Hallows, when Luna is imprisoned at Malfoy Manor, she never panics. She's kind to others, she's steady, and when it's time to fight at the Battle of Hogwarts, she doesn't hesitate. There's this quiet fierceness in her that Evanna never overplays, but it's there, and it makes Luna feel stronger than anyone ever gave her credit for. The connection between Evanna and Luna also extended beyond the films. She's often spoken about how playing Luna helped her during difficult times in her own life, how Luna's openness, vulnerability, and strength inspired her personally. And that's part of why her performance resonates so deeply with fans. It came from a real place. In the end, Evanna Lynch didn't just bring Luna to life, she helped Luna become even more iconic. Her portrayal made audiences fall in love with the character all over again, even those who already adored her from the books. And for many people, when they think of Luna Lovegood, they don't just picture a character. They hear her soft voice, see her serene smile, and remember the quiet magic she brought to every scene. Evanna's Luna wasn't loud, she wasn't flashy, but she stayed with you, just like Luna herself. Luna Lovegood might not have been the main character of the Harry Potter series, but she's the kind of character who lingers, the kind you don't forget. She was never the loudest voice in the room, never the one chasing recognition or power, but somehow her presence always mattered. She changed the way people thought, the way they saw the world, and maybe, in some small way, the way they saw themselves. Luna's legacy isn't about big, flashy moments. It's about quiet bravery, about staying soft in a world that often rewards hardness, about believing in strange things and still being taken seriously. She showed us that being different isn't something to hide, it's something to lean into. that kindness, imagination, and honesty are strengths, that seeing the world through a slightly tilted lens can sometimes reveal truths others miss completely. She was proof that you don't have to fit the mold to be powerful. You don't have to wear armor to be brave. Luna taught us that being vulnerable, being curious, being true to who you are, even when the world laughs, is a kind of magic all its own. And even after the final book closed and the last film faded to black, Luna's story didn't end. She became a naturalist. She traveled the world. She continued to seek out the magical, the invisible, the unbelievable, not because she needed anyone's approval, but because that's who she was, and always would be. Luna Lovegood reminds us that it's okay to walk your own path, to believe in things no one else sees, to speak gently and love deeply, and wear radish earrings just because they make you happy. She reminds us to be kind, to stay curious, and to never lose our sense of wonder. Thank you for spending your night with Lost at 3 a.m. Sweet dreams, and as Luna might say, don't forget to check for nargles.